Some of these photos are really disturbing. I know we put some out today. There are many others, and some of the other photos that we did not put out today are
This is the reporter Robert Garcia, representative de California. Garcia unreleased images, incredibly disturbing, he said. The Epstein images.
incredibly disturbing.
Today's batch of Epstein photos were secured by the House Oversight Committee.
95,000 plus photos are right there.
Even though, like all House committees, right, it's under Republican control.
Donald Trump, the president, right here.
The Republican majority's hand has been forced to some extent, both by the toxic politics
Trump right here.
of Epstein and quite deft maneuvering of the Democrats on that committee, including ranking member Robert Garcia of California, and Congressman Robert Garcia joins me now. It's good to have you on the program. I want to just follow up with the thing you said this morning, which I think has been haunting all of us all day, about some of these are very disturbing. And I wonder if you could just elaborate what you mean.
Yes, some of these are very disturbing. If you have saw, I made a few videos on it. 95,000 images can be possible to make a one video on them.
By that, about disturbing, because we're talking about Jeffrey Epstein here.
Right. I mean, look, I think first what's important is
Yeah, Jeffrey Epstein is a pedophile, they are
we
saying.
received, this was just yesterday, 95,000 photographs from the Epstein estate. We were able to put out so far probably about 75 to 80 photos
He's
throughout
the rep of Robert Garcia, de
the
California.
day today, many of which you've seen, a lot of the public has now seen, which is incredibly important for transparency. And our intention is to put out as many of the photos as possible while protecting,
Yes, every photos are protecting the face of the individuals.
of course, the survivors. Including in the photos are many photos of women and many photos that are
Yes, many photos of women, many photos of children, like minus 18 minors.
disturbing and that need to be redacted, and that we need to think very carefully in how those are presented to the public. Because at the end of the
Yes, we do not have to present it to the public without blurring their face, blacking out their faces, because that can be the survivors,
day, the
victims.
most important thing is we protect the survivors. I personally met with numerous survivors, both individually and in groups, and this is critical to the investigation. But make no mistake that beyond what folks have seen today, Jeffrey Epstein was a sick man.
Yes, Jeffrey Epstein was a sick man, or what is mind, out of mind,
Ghislaine
everything.
Maxwell was a monster, and the harm and abuse that they have caused women and children needs to be exposed, and the powerful men that did that harm need to be exposed, and there has to be justice.
I want to be clear that from my perspective, I agree wholeheartedly, right?
Yes, what are your perspective?
That there's no transparency prerogative here that would override the protection of those who have been abused here. But
Yes, everyone who was abused, like the girls especially.
I just want to get a clear sense from you. Like, are you saying there's documentation of these abuses? That, like, in the photos, there's documentary evidence of some of the things that Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell are accused of or convicted of doing.
Ghislaine Maxwell is the partner of Jeffrey Epstein.
There is in the photos, there is clearly photos of women, a variety of different, there are hundreds and hundreds of photos that we've already seen. And as a reminder, we've only seen about 25,000 of the 95,000
All right, 95,000 photos. All we only seen 25,000 till now.
batch. So we've been going through the whole production in batches. But of the 25,000 photos that we have seen, there are hundreds and hundreds of photos of women, of which some of those are very disturbing.
Yes, very disturbing images that cannot be publicly released.
And of which some of those are horrific in nature and certainly sexual in nature. And so
Yeah, some of the sexual in nature, they say.
that's the work that the team and the research team right now is focused on. And we're going to ensure that the public gets transparency, that we get the information out, and we're being very thoughtful about protecting those women. And again, we just
Yeah, these are all the images we got.
got this yesterday, but we are committed to transparency and the truth will get out. And right now, there's one person in the United States who has the power to bring justice to these women and to get the truth out, and that's Donald Trump. He should
Yes, Donald Trump himself can get the truth out, you can
release
see.
the files today.
Yeah, I mean, thank you for being a little clear there. I really don't want to repudiate here. I don't want, what you're saying is really true, but just
Yes, yeah, it is true.
I think there's some sense, right, that people have that was any of this
Trump admin has 7 days to release Epstein docs.
documented. Are there videos or pictures? And that's a horrific thing to contemplate, but also is part of the story in terms of what this individual did, what the people around him may have done. We don't know. In terms of these files, these came from the estate. Now, I want to ask you something that
Yes, all right. This came from the state. What do you want to ask?
was raised by my colleague Lisa Rubin in the first block of this program, which is she seemed to indicate that your committee has a lot of files, and only a small sliver of them have been made public. That there are bank files, there are other things, and I can't tell how much those are affirmative decisions being made by the chair, Jim Comer, how much those are working your way through production
All right, what are you talking about?
carefully. Like, how would you describe why we have seen what we've seen and why we haven't seen what we haven't seen? If that makes sense.
Yes, because there are some disturbing, horrifying things.
Absolutely. Look, I think first what's really important here is that every single document, photo, video that we have is because we have fought for them on the Oversight Committee as Democrats. And Republicans,
Yes.
every single step of the way, they try to block the release. They try to stop our vote on the subpoena. Donald Trump sent, brought in members of Congress to the Situation Room, tried to stop the vote from happening on the floor.
Democrats say it's California.
So Republicans, Mike Johnson, James Comer, at every single turn have dragged their feet and participated in this White House cover-up. Of what we currently have, we have one batch of documents from the DOJ. All of those documents were essentially already public record. So that was already
DOJ is Donald Trump
given to the
Jr.
public. There was nothing new there. Of the other documents that we have, much of what we have either is already in the public record.
Yes, already in public record. Democrats and House Oversight, CMT.
Democrats have already put out as a committee, and we still have not put out yet fully are the bank records. And I'll tell you why. We're working right now with our partners on the Senate Finance Committee,
Yes, everything.
in both the Senate and the Financial Services Committee in the U.S. House. And we are carefully going through a complex system of documents, ledgers, bank statements that connect
Every document, every one document. It's just not the images of the people. There's some all images.
money laundering, we believe, possibly, and also
Money laundering is the main thing. He did money laundering from the rich people. You understand if you know about Jeffrey Epstein.
information about who was paying who and where Jeffrey Epstein was receiving all of his resources from. And I'll note this one other thing, which is important. The Republicans only decided to subpoena 2 of the banks, Deutsche Bank
You understand this is the one.
and JP Morgan. We've asked for over 20 banks to be subpoenaed. So we need Republicans to join us and subpoena the 20 other banks where we want to get information.
Bill Gates, right? Yeah.
From all of that is going to be critically important in the weeks and months ahead. But I'll tell you, Chris, we're making really, really good progress.
So if there are images here, I mean, one thing that's striking to me is something that Andrew Weissman said earlier in the program, and this pertains to, say, the birthday book, right, which in some ways I think kicked off a lot of this. The Wall Street Journal is reporting about that. Am I right that nothing from the estate has ever come into the custody of law enforcement?
Yes, can be true.
That everything being turned over by the estate, including the photos you got, like this is the first time U.S. government representatives or anyone has gotten this information. Is that true?
We're actually not sure what representatives of the government.
Yeah, like it can be uncensored, censored things, right? Yeah, back some people had access to watch it, but not everyone.
Or the DOJ may have that the estate also has. There's certainly a lot the estate has that, according to some of the DOJ, they do not have. Look, the birthday book, Donald Trump spent weeks saying it didn't exist, as we remember.
Yes, all right.
There have been comments from members of the DOJ and members of the administration that they weren't aware, obviously, of some of what the estate has. And so that is likely true, that there are documents and photos that we're releasing to the public.
Yes, we are releasing to the public with the Donald Trump.
Including possibly ones that we released today that are not in the possession of the DOJ. But I also want to be very clear that what we've released and what we have is a tiny amount of production compared to what the DOJ
Very tiny. What we have, like 95,000 for radio.
has. From what we understand from talking to folks at the FBI as well as the DOJ, there's an enormous amount of documents, of records, of photos, of videos, and other materials in the possession of the Department of Justice. And so if we really want to solve this investigation and bring justice to the survivors, the DOJ is where the information is. And we're going to collect it. If they choose to redact information or if they choose to not give us full information, we're going to get to the truth, even without the DOJ. But they need to do the right thing right now and release all the files.
All right, Congressman Robert Garcia, who sits on that oversight committee. Thank you so much. Very busy day, and I appreciate you coming by.
All right, guys. My thoughts into this. So we have 95,000 images, but not everyone is clear. Not even 100 images are out there. 5 images that repeat and repeat. What are the thoughts on this?